Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about training and juniors. So let's get into it. So the question in question was pretty straightforward actually. Frederick, do you provide mentorship at your place of work? And the short answer is yes, I do, or we do. And I would be very surprised if any successful IT company can survive without doing that. Let me explain. So you may have this idea, and I'm very sorry to say that there are still a few really stupid companies out there in the world who have completely missed the point of what hiring developers or junior developers, what it's all about. You see, this industry is no different from other industries in the regard, from the perspective of hiring someone who's never done the job before. So one thing that really bothers me with people hiring programmers is that everybody in this industry, they want developers. There's a deficit of developers and there's so many job openings, but nobody wants to hire juniors because nobody wants to pay to train someone who is inexperienced. And I just don't get that. I really don't. It's the same, your supermarket does not hires teenagers. McDonald's hires teenagers to do this job. We in the digital industry, we can do the same thing. Because programming, although it is difficult, although it is not as accessible as something like the fast food industry or something that doesn't require a lot of prep work, it is still not so difficult that it can't be done by someone with basic training. What the average time you're going to train a junior developer, it depends on aptitude as well, but you can count on that it will take a junior from a few months up to slightly, let's say over a year or something like that, to be fairly self-reliant in the sense that, well, they might need some assistance here and there, but for the most part, they're actually not blocking their senior coworkers. And that's the thing. The thing that you're trying to go for here is not to have a master programmer. What you're trying to achieve is that you need a developer who has the capacity to produce value for the company. Now, if it's the same thing in most companies where you might have seniors and you might have less experienced workers. Let's say that construction workers. You don't expect a 20-something someone to be able to build the whole building themselves. Why nobody would set that expectation on someone who is that you're hiring, and that's not even what you want from that individual. What you want from an individual who, I guess, a junior profile in construction is to have someone who has the strength and the ability to do the work that they are told to do. Because they already have more experienced construction workers and architects and so forth that can set up the work process, and that's exactly how a really efficient IT company needs to work. It's the same principle. You have senior, more experienced staff that you need to be able to trust are going to train and guide the junior profiles. If the juniors are producing shit code, it's such a weird mindset that, I don't want to hire someone for a fraction of what it costs me to hire a senior because I don't want to train them. Because then the code is going to be ugly, of course, because I know as a manager I have read a lot of blog posts that states that bad developers hurt my company. And I kind of go, yeah, but if you have senior staff and you have junior staff and your juniors are producing shit code, what the fuck are these seniors doing? Think about it. What are they doing? If they are producing good code and the juniors are producing bad code, is the solution then to just fire all the juniors or not have juniors and just have seniors that cost near on twice, sometimes 3 times as much money? I spoke to the head of one of the biggest consultancies here in Gothenburg. Now this is a I think they're actually no. I think it's a multi-billion industry, a multi-billion company. It's international. Now we were there talking to this guy, and he said something to me that I think that we all need to this is wisdom in its purest form. He stated to me this, Frederick. The thing is that it's not economically sustainable for a company to only hire seniors, because if I only hire seniors for my projects, it's going to cost too much, because the seniors in terms of producing just code are going to produce code at about the same rate as a less like not a junior developer but a mid-level developer. It's like just producing the code, like just getting out doing the grunt work. It doesn't really differ so much in productivity there. What I usually do when I set up these projects, or how we work at this company, is that we hire one or two very senior profiles that are responsible for making sure that the project stays on track and setting up the architecture and setting up like all the vision and the roadmaps and deal with all the stakeholders. They usually lead the teams or manage the teams, and then they take care of the code reviews and the coaching of the more inexperienced developers. Because I can, as long as the more inexperienced developers have someone to go to for guidance, they will actually produce code in just about the same amount of time. It's just that they need some help with understanding how they should do things. And before training them doesn't take all that long. And this is, I mean, this is exactly the point that I'm trying to make here. Of course, a company needs to provide mentorship, because if you're not providing mentorship, you're not going to be able to sustain your business long term. It's just a matter of time before you're either going to run out of money, because you can't just hire only seniors, because it's going to be pricey. It's going to be damn pricey. Odds are that it's like buying stock options at the peak prices. You're just swindling yourself. And the second part is that at some point, you're going to realize that you're going to realize that you can't have this mindset that every person in your company needs to be a super developer, because it's not going to work. Even the most experienced developers in the beginning of things need some type of coaching in order to get into your project and be able to be productive and produce the value for the company. So what you should be optimizing for is to figure out how can I produce value for my company at the lowest cost? And that is done in this exact fashion. You need experienced developers that really know your system and know the industry, that coach less experienced developers, so that you can actually gain the benefit of someone who can produce the code, like the grunt work, because even if you have just seniors, they're not going to be able to move all that much faster than someone who is a mid-level developer. And this is like just basic finance and resource management, but for some reason we here in our industry just don't get that. So what I want you to take away from this is basically that, yes, I provide mentorship both on this channel of mine and at work. And I do this thing here because I want to help people, because it makes me feel good about myself, and hopefully it gives some value to some people. And I do it at work also because it makes me feel good about myself to help somebody out. But I also know that my company supports it because they realize that if they are paying a senior experience 2 times almost, sometimes more than someone with just a few years or some basic experience, then hopefully that experience should be spread, that knowledge should be shared. That's what you're paying them for, because if you do that, then you can actually get out more valuable code than if you just had one more seniors, because on the salary of one really senior experience, you might be able to have 1 or 2 junior developers, or at least, it doesn't measure. It's basic economics, guys. And the fact of the assumption that this industry has, that everybody who that you just need to hire the best developers and pay them as much as possible is completely false. That's not how you succeed as an IT company. You succeed as an IT company by having the right people, a mix of people, and having a very strong and embracive office culture with innovative ideas. That is how you succeed. Have a great day.